What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips where we get it in, right? But before we're about to get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button, put the notification bells on all so that way you're directed in the direction of all the dope content I'm kicking. Now, you can tell by that thumbnail, I'm about to get into something a little bit different. I wanted to talk about a barrio. You know, you talk about a lot of hoods and a lot of barrios that have a lot of history. Historia, homes. A lot of hoods, you know, throughout Northern California, Southern California, that definitely get acknowledged a little bit more than others, like 18, White Fence, of course, Franklin and Sacra, the Michon, you know, and San Fran, and then in San Jose, of course, you got Barrio Horseshoe, Mobsteros, all these individuals, Palmas, they get recognized, you know, in Salas, I can't skip Salas, Samsters, Casitas, stand up. You're going to have all these voters that are represented, and they're going to get a lot of respect, and they're going to give a lot of respect. It's just how them barrios rock. But there's a little barrio, man, you know, in the city of Merced. It's in between Merced and Atwater, in this little area that I grew up in called Beachwood. Now, the Beachwood locals, homie, you know, you would think you hear Beachwood locals, bam, automatically Mexicano, Raza, you know, another barrio of Norteños. But, sounds good, little quietly as it's kept. That one a hood right there, that one barrio, for those of you that don't know the barrio history of the Central Valley, was established by a white boy. That's real, man. That's facts, right? So I grew up as a little kid in the Beachwood area. Now, Beachwood was always its own little spot. It was its own island because it was in the middle. It was in between Merced and Atwater, right off Old Santa Fe. And it was like a little old hood. Now, the back history on this hood was we have a big, in Merced County, in Merced, we have a big place. No, well, now they have the prison. Atwater Penitentiary's there, right? The USP. But prior to that, it used to be the Castle Air Force Base. I remember when I was a little kid, man, you'd hear planes flying over all day long. So this little hood right here was basically Castle Air Force Base living. This is where all the officers that were in Castle Air Force Base, all the people that were in the Army or the Air Force or whatever, was their housing. This is where they lived. They established this little neighborhood because it was right down the street from Castle. For the people that didn't want to live on base, it was off-base living. So all these houses were structured the same. They kind of looked the same, only different colors. Well, little by little, other people started to move in as Castle Air Force Base started to get shut down. And that happened when I was little. You know, other people moved in, other familias. And there was a very big, heavy raza presence there. I don't know, fucking houses were just cheaper. Ghetto, you know what I mean? So we were able to mix, mingle, and invade that territory. So it was always known to me as a raza stronghold, pretty much a barrio. But at the same time, man, there was a heavy presence of white boys. The woods were thick, brother, right? The woods were pretty thick. And there was one wood in particular, one family. And quietly as it's kept, man, it's going to trip you out, but their last name were Wood, right? So I remember growing up, you know, I'd admire all the young Norteños. I'd admire all the OGs, everyone that would cruise by, cars bumping. You know, back in the days, homes, we weren't bumping fucking Punch, and we were bumping M&Ms and Earthquakes, homes, old school shit, Alpine pullouts and Kenwoods. People used to have those mini trucks, and they'd be cruising up and down the street. And as a little kid, I'd look out my window and I admire this stuff. This is what I wanted to grow up to have. So I wanted a mini truck. Can I get a mini truck one time? I was going to have to work hard for it. But even more so than the cars and the glamour, homes, I admired the way that these young Norteños walked up and down the street gangbanging, you know, putting it down and representing. Now, growing up in the Beachwood area, we were always a little bit outcasted from Merced. Even though Merced is the city we're from, it was always like Merced, Beachwood. We were apart, I guess, right? That's the way they considered us. Now, ultimately, I end up moving to the west side of Merced, man, and I grow up dead end. But as a young kid, man, I used to mix and mingle and hang around with these cats from Beachwood, right? And there was a heavy presence of cats there, raza and whites mixed, man. Let's just keep it real. In the beginning stages of this barrio, man, it was a mixture. But there was one guy who stood out amongst the rest. At first, and I'm going to keep it real, I thought this vato was a bully. I thought he was one of them dudes that'll fucking just punk you and take your shoes because you can take them. He was deboing people. So I'm not going to lie, man. I was a little suspicious of this guy. I was a little afraid as a kid, you know. He was one of those guys I looked up to, I wanted to be like, but I didn't want to test his waters, man. From what I had heard, he was a Golden Glove boxer. You know, he had been putting it down. He was trained. He was fucking people up. And he was definitely the leader of this crew called Beachwood Locals, right? And I remember when they got established sometime about 87, 88. That's when everyone started wearing the BWL hats, the Beachwood Local t-shirts, the jackets with your name in Old English on the back, with your hood and your barrio. I remember this shit. So this one white cat was definitely fucking deboing on everyone. He was pushing his presence. That's for sure. And I remember one time, as a young kid, I used to go to school and I used to just watch him from a distance, try to imitate and emulate him, try to do the Sonny Colosio. You know what I mean? The Sonny boy was like, hey, Sonny, right? So I see this white boy and he was flamed up from head to toe. He was a norteño, you know, and just because he was white, I knew better than to fucking say anything, right? So I let him believe what he wanted to believe. But the cold part about it was that this guy never did not know what he was. He always knew he was white. You know, his family leaned the white way, the wood way. He went more towards the raza, but at the same time, he knew where he was from or what he was. He never got away from that. And that's why I will ultimately always respect this dude. Even now, he's a good friend, but trip out on what happened. So I'm a kid, man, and I was always one of those type of kids that wanted to prove himself. I wanted to get attention. I seeked attention. I liked it. I liked people to think, oh, that fool's crazy, or oh, that fool's down. So I did a lot of idiotic things. I did a lot of stupid shit. I would break in cars, vandalism, spray paint, get involved in a lot of the riff-raff, knick-knack, paddywhack bullshit to try to prove myself in the hood. I guess that's what we all go through when we're in the barrio. Most of us, you know, some of us just kill somebody and fuck it, we're out, right? But as a young 8, 9-year-old kid, you know, I wanted to, you know, be somebody, you know. So at school, you know, I used to do my thing in class, but I get suspended because I'd go out there and fight and, you know, try to fucking get acknowledged. Anyways, hey, ain't that the life of a lot of young kids, right? That want to be gang members. And I say want to be because at that time, that's what I was. I wanted to be. And I wasn't. So anyways, this cat took notice of me. And I remember he wanted to test me. I could see it from the corner of my eye. I was getting off the school bus and they were all standing right there, man. Now they were older than me. This cat was at least 2, 3 years older than me. I was a young kid. He was like 12, 13, but I thought he was an adult already. You know, that's the way he looked to me. He was bigger. His presence was more felt. So anyways, I remember getting off the bus and he had a homeboy named Gavi. True story, fact. If you find Gavi, I want one of you haters find Gavi and ask about me. And ask how many times I fucking ragdolled him. He'll tell you. True story. Anyone in Merced knows. So anyways, they're all hanging out by the bus and I could see them as I'm pulling up and I'm telling my little friend Sammy, damn, Holmes, there's Ryan and all these cats, right? And he's like, hey, just look cool. Just look cool when you get off the bus. Maybe they'll fucking pull you, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. Even as young kids, this is the way we talk. Nowadays, they're too busy collecting fucking Pokemon cards. But back then, it was like, hey, I'm trying to get pulled by the homies, right? So as I get off the bus, I'm walking with my chest all out. Yay, I think I'm bad. And this cat approaches me. And he's like, hey, what's up, little homie? Now, mind you, we're all kids. I'm like, hey, yeah, what's up? He was like, yeah, I heard you got those hands. I don't know how the fuck you heard that because I didn't and I don't, right? So I was like, yeah, hell yeah. And he was like, yeah, hey, my homie wants to see you. That's how it was in that hood. There was no, we used to have Friday night fights. There was no, oh, no, because I have to go ride my bike. My mom will get mad if I don't go straight home. There was none of that. Fucking get off where you're mad at, get down, Holmes, prove yourself, or get the fuck up out the hood. Straight up. That's how Beachwood was back then. So anyways, I'm like, whatever. He's like, the homie Gavi. I never liked the cat. This was one of, you know, there's always, let me make sure that fucking fool ain't creeping. There's always this one cat in the hood. Nobody likes, but everyone kicks it with, right? You know, thought he was too good. His older brothers had the nice cars. He always had the bad lowrider bike. You know, I mean, I remember his older brothers used to play Bandai in the fucking garage. You know, he was straight paisa, but at the same time, Holmes, you know, he was a homie. But I wasn't intimidated whatsoever. Let's put it like that. I wanted to test that ability. So as soon as he said, hey, it's the homie Gavi, I said, it's whatever, homie. Let me drop my motherfucking Janssen sport bag. Let me go ahead and fucking lace up my Cortezes and let's go. Beat him up from the feed him up, right? Was ragdolling or dragging him. This is back in the days when motherfuckers used to wear their hat like this. And they used to have the long mullet in the back. Well, let's just say by the time I was done, I fucking slung him by his mullet all over the place, right? And his hat was backwards. Fucked him off. Now, true story. I talk about my L's and my dubs. That was a W. So I smashed him. So this guy took a liking to me, right? But he still would try to pressure and punk people. And I was intimidated, man. I felt like he was trying to bully us into hanging around with him, or he was trying to, even though that's what I wanted, ultimately, it was kind of like forced. Like, hey, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go home, you're going to take your backpack home, and then you're going to come and we're going to break into every house and you're going to give me everything. Ready? Hike. All right, right? So my moms could tell by the look on my face something ain't right. So I walk in the pad, I remember, drop my bag, hey, mom, I'm going to go out and play and shit. Remember back in the days when kids actually played on the streets till the lights went out? Yes, one of them times. Nowadays, they're too busy fucking doing what they does, cuz. And you can't allow your children to go outside because there's too many chirujos and weirdos like SPM out there fucking lurking, right? So anyways, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go out. So my mom's like, what's wrong, mijo? Nothing, it's all good, right? She's like, hey, is someone messing with you? One thing about Mexican moms, straight up, homie, don't play with their kids. You don't play with a Mexican mother's kids. You don't play with their kids and their stamps or their welfare check on the 1st and 15th. Don't do that. If that fucking mailbox is open and someone messed with their check, there's going to be issues in the audio, right? Don't play with their stamps. Don't play with their check. And don't fuck with her kids, right? Only she could beat the hell out of them with the chancla. So anyways, and believe me, I have chancla marks to this day. So now, nah, moms, everything's good, right? She's like, nah, everything ain't good. What's going on? I said, well, I'm going to go out. She said, who are you hanging around with, man? All this red. You think you're a cool, like a gangster, a norteño or something. I am a norteño. Shut up. I just want to play, right? So mom's is peeping the scene. She sees me hanging around with the bad guys, right? She's like, hey, why are you hanging around with Ryan? The white boy's name was Ryan Wood, just like Woody, the rapper, right? And I was like, oh, no, he's cool, mom. He looks out for us. She was like, yeah, he looks out for you. Where's your new shoes? What new shoes? The ones I bought you at JCPenney's, puto? Oh, fuck. Ryan needed to borrow them. You know what I mean? Just for, yeah, he's been borrowing them now for 3 weeks. Actually 4, but, you know what I mean? We ain't going to go there. So anyways, moms took me to him. She was like, hey, you got a problem with my son? Putting me on blast in front of everyone. Get over here, bitch, right? You got a problem with my son? She's holding my ear the whole time she's talking to him. She's pointing at him, pulling my finger. So every time she points, she pulls, right? So I'm doing this. This is what's happening, right? I'm like, oh, no, hell no, mom, I don't want no issue. He's like, as soon as my mom left, he said, hey, you told on me right there? Right? Vato? I'm like, Vato? The white boy say Vato? He's like, you told on me? I'm like, nah. He was like, all right, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have to get it on with Gabi again. You guys are going to have to fucking see each other, right? I said, that's my punishment? Come here, Gabi. Sauce, right? Another uppercut, and he was doing the bamboozle, right? And that was it. He was doing the fluttering fish. He was doing I fucking hit his head so hard, his fucking hair fell forward. He looked like Pontius Pilate. You know what I mean? Ripped that off the cross. I was really doing my thing. And he took a liking to me. So years passed. I ended up catching my case, going to, we moved out of the little area, moved to the west. I ended up getting established with dead end hoes. I ended up going to YA. It is what it is. I catch my case at a young age, man. I get out. I'm 18 years old. I think I'm a maniac, a monster now. Now my name and my reputation precedes itself from the youth authority. Now I'm a functioning, active homeboy. I've been doing my thing. Mongolian is dropped. Balls done dropped even further. I'm just living. So I get out and I actually go to the Beachwood area because this is an area that we grew up in. So it's always going to be my hood. I'm always going to have love for that area, right? But things change. But then Vato did it. And he sees me. And now he's older, Holmes. And he ended up becoming, all right, let me tell you, we actually ran into each other in YA and he beat up a whole bunch of white people. Facts, right? They thought he was Wood. They kind of did him like American Me. Hey, man, you're supposed to be over here with us. Ding, 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 ding. They said, no, you're not, right? And that was it. He was a homeboy. So I had been hearing about him. He was really doing his thing in and out of prison. Remember, I said he was a few years older than me. So I went to YA. He gets out of YA, goes straight to prison, gets out. We run into each other, man. Good ass homeboy, solid as fuck. A lot of people get credibility. They get credit on starting these vadus in these neighborhoods. One thing I can say about Merced, man, is a lot of these hoods are new compared to like hoods in LA, Sanjo, Salas. We were established in the 80s. You got to understand the norteño presence in Merced, man, wasn't around till I'd say the late 80s. When the norteños were established in the mid 80s, that's when everyone was doing their thing. As Vato started to parole, they started to go to the west side. They never really touched Beachwood. When they finally did, that's when little hoods and little barrios started to get names put on them. There was always Beachwood the hood, but it never had Beachwood locals attached to it. Now you ask yourself, well, you wasn't a Beachwood local? I was a Beachwood local, homie. I was dead end local, but I was also Beachwood local. Let me tell you how that works, right? I grew up in that neighborhood, but never got jumped in or put on. But everyone always considered me from Beachwood, even though I was from the West Wigado, right? And that's just the way it was. And that's pretty much how dead end my neighborhood that I was from and Beachwood, man, were very close. Now, times change, things change. I get out, man. I go back visit. He's the homie now, solid as fuck. We done did time in YA. Now he really respects me, man. I gained and earned his respect, and we're forever friends. He actually fucking commits a crime, man. And he's into crime so much. This guy's so vicious and so known with the hands, beats everyone up. And look at real OGs in Merced, not the little youngsters, right? Respects though, but real OGs, you ask them about Ryan Wood and they'll tell you, homies, these are facts. That Vato had major hands. They'll be like, hey, can you beat up Baby? Fools will be like, yeah, that'd be a good one. Can you beat up Aaron? Maybe. Can you beat up fucking Soldier? Easy. Can you beat up Ryan Wood? Oh, shit, that's a bad white boy, right? That Wood right there, go. That's just how it was. He gained that reputation. And he was so bad, they ended up kicking him out of the state, man. He wasn't even allowed to come back to California. Facts. You know, through the courts, they were like, get the fuck out of here. They kicked him out to like Arkansas or somewhere like that. Alabama, I think it was Arkansas. He went with this familia and established out there. But, you know, I hear about Beachwood a lot. It's always in the news. You know, when I read the Merced Sun Star, I go back to my old paper and read it or look online, and because that's what we do nowadays. And I always see the Barrio, and, you know, there's a lot of killings, a lot of murders, man. It seems like it got way worse. You know, I cruised through there the last time I was in Merced, man. It was ran down, man. It just looked ugly. Now, there was a whole bunch of new houses. I mean, it expanded, homie. You know what I mean? But it was different. Now there's a mixture of people. Now I hear the Southsiders are in there thick. That was never, I couldn't call it, right? They're in that motherfucker thick, established, doing their thing. Of course, you still have Vatos from Beachwood, the neighborhood. One thing I can say about that neighborhood is that's the one barrio where I felt the presence of a real barrio. You got to understand, my hood is fragmented. We have the actual core, but Vatos are everywhere. You got Vatos from your hood you don't even know. You know what I mean? Hey, what's up, homie? Where are you from? Where? From Dead End, what? Right? I don't even know you, hey. I know your brother, and that's how it is. But in Beachwood, everybody knew everybody, and everybody knew everybody's jefa, and everybody knew everybody's familia. That's just what it was. You know what I mean? It was the hood store, El Tarab. It was the street, the blocks, the different little offshoots. Everyone knew everyone. That's just how it was. Everyone stuck together. I remember on Fridays, man, be popping. My Theo, he's so OG in this shit. He used to get home from work fast, too. Go pick up his 3 tall cans of Bud Light. That's he was drinking that yay juice, huh? He'd come over with his Bud Lights, sit down in his lawn chair in the front, and be like, shit, I'm ready, homes. Pura, who's going to fight tonight? Because he already knew, man, Vatos would fucking get it right there in the middle of the street fighting. It was real hood shit, you know, real block shit. And then it started getting ugly. Then enemies started to come into the area. They started to accumulate enemies, and there were shootings, and it just got ugly. But that hood, because I was asked the other day by a Vato from Beachwood. He was like, yeah, you know who started my hood? Ooh, I absolutely do, homies. He was a white boy. His name was Ryan Wood, homie. Good-ass dude right there. Forever going to be a friend of mine. With that being said, you can't judge a book by its cover. Don't sleep on people just because of their ethnicity or what they look like, homes. You know, if you grow up a certain way and you just choose to fucking rock that, that's how they rock, man. Look at Miklo, eh? Miklo, besides the sucking on the fingers, we can't even give him a pass on that, but I guess we have to. Besides that, he fucking took Big Al's fucking scrotum and drug it, right? So he did his thing. But Live Off the Rhyme was nothing like that, Holmes. He was a vicious character. He was with the business, and that's a fact, man. So that's who established the Beachwood Barrio. And I got to give respect. You know, a lot of people, they talk about it in Merced. You know, I'm talking about people from my area, you know, and they're like, hey, Beachwood ain't about shit, homie. They shit. You were back in the days, homie. You know what I mean? You better recognize. Motherfuckers was putting it down. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, man, I was just a little kid trying to get by. Just like everyone else. I'm not the hardest motherfucker in the world. I never proclaimed to be. I'll never say that. You'll never hear that come out of my mouth. I'm far from that. You know, but I grew up hood shit. I grew up government cheese. I grew up turning in the food stamps so you can get change so mama could buy frajos with the note she wrote. I grew up, you know what I mean, eating Kick cereal, homie. I grew up block certified hood raised, and that's real talk, homes. With that being said, get out there and get everything that you can, man. I'm so glad I don't live like that no more. Now I just got pistols on the screen because I'm an ex-con. With that being said, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle and strive for what I honestly and truly believe in, and that's bringing you guys pura, the best entertainment I can right here on YouTube. Bang, bang. Gracias for the support.